Mark, what's
Hey,
happening?
Paul.
How are you?
Good, man. Do you know that this is Batman AF?
It is. That's what I've heard. For Advanced Forward, from what I'm told.
AF.
Yeah. We're going to talk about that and the rest of the issue too, but we'll do that right after this. Before we get started, don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below. Don't forget to hit the like button while you're here. Leave us a comment, let us know how we're doing, and hit the notification bell so you're alerted whenever we upload new content. He wants us to think he froze, but he didn't really freeze.
No, this coffee is Batman AF.
Okay, well, there you go. It is in a nice Batman AF cup too. So exactly. So we're
This
talking about
episode is about to be AF.
exactly. We're talking about Absolute Batman number two. Already number two. I can't believe it. Seemed like it was just number one. Um,
Only a month ago.
exactly, just a little while ago. Um, but it continues. It continues. We're going to talk about that AF thing in a little while. But it starts off doing more of his origin again, jumping back to the zoo where everything started.
Yeah, it's tragic. We see him sitting behind the other side of that door that his dad closed to protect him. We see his dad on the other side, presumed to be dead at this point, just kind of hunched over up against the door, him calling for his dad to open the door. Then we hear the screeches coming from Bruce's side of the door, and he looks back and gets bombarded by the bats. So we get that familiar origin just with a slight slant to it, and then you turn to an amazing splash page. We talk about these pretty often on this channel or when we're hanging out. These big splash page intros to a book really does give you a big, like a nice little punch, a big introduction into the story. Like whether it be World's Finest or these absolute books, it sets the stage to be something grand that you're getting yourself into. So I really appreciate them.
It does, but Scott Snyder actually came out because he's been getting some feedback from people on Twitter and Blue Sky. I think is the new one, right? So
That's the new one.
that's the new one, right?
That's it.
He's been getting some feedback that people have been asking him: Is Absolute Batman only 5 issues? Because the big splash page says part 2 of 5, and has come out and said that basically no. Just the first arc is five parts,
Yeah, he
but he
posted today stating that him and Nick have 2 years worth of
right,
Absolute Batman already mapped out. As long as
correct.
we keep buying it and enjoying it, they'll keep putting it out.
Correct. With the and he didn't say that after 2 years he was going to leave. They plan if as long as they can they'll go beyond the 2 years. But to your point, they already have a 2 year plan
Money
as to
makes
what
the
they want
world
to
go
do.
round. Keep
Exactly.
it spinning, people. Keep it spinning.
Exactly. Then we jump to the present. We see the Batman working with the party animals, battling them again.
Working on the party
Yeah,
animals.
working on the party animals.
Yeah, this
Uh,
is a 2 week span from the last issue and this issue, and we're experiencing the story from Alfred's perspective. That's important. So,
mm,
2 week jump that he's been monitoring Batman, following Batman, studying Batman.
Whoop, hello. Yeah, so but we hear it all through Alfred. He's basically talking about all the things that he's been doing, over the past 2 weeks, and how he basically has kind of been without revealing himself, well, without telling Batman that he's doing it. He's kind of, in some ways, kind of helping to clear the deck so that Batman can take on the party animals. And we see him go, and we basically Alfred says basically this man is nothing if not incredibly prepared.
I agree.
Thank you. So we see them battling. We see some things happen where basically, Alfred has been following him to the point where he has actually been following to these different caves that he goes to the top of all these buildings. And although he hasn't gone to all of them, Alfred has been able to kind of pinpoint and kind of plan ahead where these other caves would be. And interestingly enough, when he lights up or indicates on a city map where all of these happen to be, they actually end up forming a neat little symbol, the bat symbol, which is like, okay, you know, and he's nothing if not, what does he say? He's nothing if not on brand or something like that. Yeah, exactly. We go back now.
Cough medicine moment here, so it's going to be muted on my end for a minute.
Okay. We see Alfred continuing to work. He follows him also to the jail, to the city jail, the penitentiary, where he goes and he meets with Joe Chill, of all people, and he says,
"Father's killer." So that's a big confirmation here, like because we haven't seen Joe Chill. He wasn't named as the bad guy at the zoo, but here it is.
Yes. We basically, he says that he does not, he only has the video, he doesn't have the audio, but he can pretty well determine what it was that he said to Joe Chill. This is where you say, I agree. No, I'm just kidding.
I disagree. He says, what he says to Chill, I don't know. I only have visual, no audio, but I can imagine. And I only like him more for it. Right. So it's like he's going to visit Joe Chill just to trash talk him, maybe? Because this Alfred's pretty tough, you know? Like, what could he have said that made Alfred say, I like this guy even more? He's sitting down in front of him, pulling like the old, like, Tim Burton Batman, I'm not afraid of you. Or what's he doing? I don't know.
Alfred still also, though, his goal is to leave Gotham, is to get out of Gotham. He says that as part of his narration. And in fact, the people that he's working for tell him that he needs to stop doing whatever he's doing to try to assist in assisting Batman.
And about that time, he makes notice how he was able to find these caves, and it didn't take long. And the party animals, having taken so many losses against Batman's tirade against him, they started seeking Batman out and had found one of his high-rise caves. And Alfred's slightly worried for Batman as the party animals storm the skyscraper.
Right. And set it on fire. In fact, it looks like
Batman was ready. He had explosive charges set in there, and they get up there and it just blows up. And that's when Alfred realizes that this guy is more than he ever imagined. This guy's prepared. There's no stopping him. He is Batman AF.
Right. And so in the book, Scott Snyder says that there's basically, two rules in warfare. One is advance forward, and the other one is retreat and regroup. And he says basically that this Batman does not know anything other than advance forward. So he says he's basically Batman AF. Now this is important because obviously most people know what AF stands for in the vernacular, in the urban language, right?
Absolute Flash.
Exactly. What AF stands for. It's interesting to me anyway because Scott Snyder has admitted that when they first started working on this, that was the working title that they had for this was Batman AF. However, the people at DC overruled that. I can't understand why. But that was kind of the what him and Nick were kind of working off of. That was kind of their mantra as to who this Batman would be. It would be Batman AF. So kind of funny, I thought. Anyway,
very good stuff.
Still manages to get it in there.
Yeah, a little Easter egg for himself and for the people that keep up.
Right. We jump now to Mayor Gordon, who is there with Harvey Bullock, who does not look like the Harvey Bullock that you would know. He looks more like Vin Diesel.
He does.
And he doesn't talk like the Harvey Bullock that you would think of too, as well as his daughter, Jim's daughter, Barbara is there as well.
They're all in the hospital while Jim's recovering from his gunshot wounds from the first issue.
Right. And in walks Martha Wayne.
Yeah, coming to visit. And they're kind of just sitting here just chit-chatting on the whole situation with how out of control the city's gotten, how crazy the party animals are, the existence of this Batman. What are we all going to do? You going to keep pushing his mayor, Jim? Just kind of all like standard stuff. Right.
Martha says that she really, she hasn't seen Bruce in a while. She ends up having this. We see this flashback where basically she says that everything that happened at the zoo has basically changed him. All of his friends show up at his house to come say hi. She implores him to go say hi to his friends. He says, just leave me alone. He actually has a medal, a science fair medal, first place science fair medal that he had won. She says, just at least go outside, and before she can even finish, he screams at her, just leave me alone, takes the medal, throws it out the window, and that's where the medal is left for now.
And the brief flashback, like a little 2-3 page panel flashback of the zoo, when Martha mentioned that, we see that Gordon was the one who found Bruce, who opened the door ultimately to get the kids out of the bat enclosure.
Right.
So he has ties to the event, which is pretty cool.
Right. So juxtaposition that with when he was young, he basically did not hang out with any friends, didn't have any friends. Now we switch to modern times again, where we had mentioned in the last time we talked about Absolute Batman, where Oswald Cobblepot and Edward Nygma and Harvey Dent and Killer Croc,
Waylon.
Oh yeah, they basically and Bruce are poker buddies.
They're all childhood friends.
Yeah, exactly. And they play cards every once in a while. Bruce hasn't been there, and we also find out that Selina does as well. Although in this particular instance, her chair is empty.
And so they haven't heard from her lately, kind of thing. She's been AWOL.
Right. They end up playing some poker. Oswald, says some things to. Obviously, we still have Harvey, who is the DA, or at least running for DA, or somehow involved with the district attorney's office, because he tells Bruce, Waylon, no pictures, because he can't be, seen with these people. They play a hand.
Small talk till the betting starts, and Bruce wants to stay in, and he actually reaches under the table to pull out his financial wager, and he puts a party animal mask down on the table, where we as the readers learned that these masks aren't basic masks. They're super high-tech gizmos in them, and he brought it here because he knew Edward is the gizmo guy. So he's asking Edward to take it and see what he can do with it. And Edward's beyond excited at the opportunity.
Right. So he takes the mask to take a look at it. The hand continues with everyone dropping out except for Harvey. They basically, Harvey says, I have 2 pair. Bruce says, I have 3 aces, but I have 4 if we're playing with the Jokers.
Another little Easter egg.
And so we see the Joker again. We don't see the Joker person that we saw at the end of issue 1. He doesn't show up in this issue. But we then go back to Batman, who was out on patrol, looking through some things. He basically is looking for where the party animals might be. They find some things. He determines that there's something about a golden chest.
Yeah, he's trying to find like a supply line, a money line to these folks, and Mayor Hill is being implemented by Harvey, like saying, you want to go check him out. Been hearing some word on the streets that Mayor Hill might be a little tied up in all this stuff. So he goes to inspect Mayor Hill's office looking for said golden chest, only to walk into a trap.
Right. Which, a golden chest, for those of you who have seen the Indiana Jones, is the Ark of the Covenant. So it's an ark. So he has, he finds
and a golden shower. Never mind.
That was a different comic you were reading.
Different comic altogether.
That's right.
Yeah, that was a great comparison. The golden chest, the Ark of the Covenant,
right.
And in the computer system, he finds the Ark M.
Arkham. Right. Arkham. Right. Clicks on it. On the computer screen shows up a black mask.
Instantly.
Exactly.
Hello.
Yeah, he basically says, we've already sent the cops to you. So don't worry about that. He goes sliding down the elevator shaft. He ends up landing, and behind him is Alfred, who basically says, I just need 30 seconds of your time.
No.
Exactly. Actually, he says, I need some time. He says, no. He says, but you're a...
I've come to believe we can help each other. Just give me a chance to explain. And Batman says 30 seconds.
30 seconds. Right. And he says, I have a car hidden, in close by, unless you happen to have one, and that's when Bruce Batman says you're standing in it, and we see the gas go down on the accelerator, and out of nowhere we see exactly the car that Bruce is talking about. It is bigger than the Tumbler. Yeah, bigger than anything you've seen so far in any Batman show. It is basically like one of those giant pickup truck. I mean, dump trucks that you would see that have like the the 2-story wheels on it and everything. And that's basically where we ended, except that we get one last scene where we see basically someone is talking about talking to Selina. And she says, "Get up, you're coming with me." And we see that Selina is now wearing around her neck the gold medal that Bruce had thrown away years before.
They said, "You lose something?"
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a flashback here.
Right.
So she's been watching him. She's been checking in on him. She's seen him throw it out the window, fetched it.
Yep.
Makes me think she's probably still watching him.
Probably. And that's where the issue ends. Another great issue as far as I'm concerned.
Fast paced. You get a lot in the backstory. You get tying him in with Alfred a little bit more. We kind of see the dynamic with and connection with Gordon and him as a child, as well as his mother with Gordon and everything. The effects of losing his parents, playing into some of that, which we don't spend a lot of time in Batman lore. You have the parent stuff, then cut to adult response kind of thing. But actually seeing him having to suffer the loss of a parent as a child, and the fact that he only lost one, and the struggle of that remaining parent to have to try to pull themselves up by their bootstraps and take care of their kid. I mean, there's a lot in here, a whole lot in here.
Yeah, and Scott Snyder is continuing to build out all the different Rose Gallery and everything with a little bit every single issue, which is kind of good. Because I mean, I like the way he's doing it, because he's building out like 4 or 5 characters at a time as well. Because the inclination would be, okay, you know what? If he's fighting the Penguin in the first arc, you just kind of build out the Penguin, and then you get to Riddler later, and then but he's basically building out a good half dozen to 8 people in his Rose Gallery. So
yeah, they all definitely have their own distinct personalities and their own distinct style to them. It isn't just like they're just present. They all have that. Like Edward's got the little smarter than you attitude. Oz is clearly got the little, he's on edge and everybody's a little nervous about him. And Harvey's better than the rest of them because he's going down the route he is. Like you see all those distinct personality traits you'd expect from all these rogues at an earlier stage in their lives. It's really well done.
Yeah, absolutely. But that
you said the
there
thing.
there you go. See that? But that's going to be it for this edition of DC Comics Deep Dive. We will be back next week. We don't know what we're talking about yet next week. We'll have to take a look at that because there's no absolute.
This is that weird week with nothing, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, we'll have something, but
yeah, we will. Maybe we'll just take a general look at All In and see where we are with that. So we'll figure out something. We definitely will be here, though. Don't worry, we'll be here.
It's actually a good tee-off point, probably, to look at the All-In stuff. Because if we hit the next slump, that's where Justice League goes in.
Exactly, and I hear that there may be, very important. I hear it's going to be the book of 2025. From
2025.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
someone told me that.
I heard the same thing.
Yeah, there you go.
Probably made it up.
There you go. Well, that's going to be it. Again, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. And leave us a comment. Let us know how we're doing. Let us know what you want us to take a look at as part of the All-In initiative as well. So, but that's going to be it.
Point.
I am Paul. He is Mark.
But we are Legion.
And you're now leaving Sector 2815.